Welcome back to Lunch with Church by Chicken Conway. We have this technical break there, but right now we are reading from John, the third chapter, and Elder Lounge was in the process of doing explaining the message that Christ was giving us here before he began to baptize. So, Rev, tell us about reintroduce people to what Nicodemus, where we are here.
We in verse 25.
Okay,
we just left from verse. I'll read 24 again. But John was not yet cast into prison. Then there arose a question between some of John's disciples and the Jews about purifying.
Okay, Rev, before we get into John and his disciples, okay, clear up a little bit here about Nicodemus, okay, what Christ was telling him here, which was the important part here about how we can be born again. And we don't want to leave people hanging on that. That's very important that people understand what is, what that actually means about how you being saved.
Oh, you want to go all the way back up to the top?
Not just review it in general. This gives an overview of what you just said, and what is being said there. And when Christ is saying, he said, "Really, I say to you, we speak what we do know and testify what we have seen." And you receive not our witnesses. So anyway, explain, okay, what's Christ explaining to people who have been baptized, people who have not been baptized, and people are starting to get baptized. And that talks a little bit about why people want to be baptized and need to be baptized.
Okay. He said, in verse 3, Jesus answered and said unto him, "Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God." Mm-hmm. Nicodemus said unto him, "How can a man be born when he is old? Mm-hmm. Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born?" No. Jesus answered, "Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit." That's how you're born again. That's how you believe in the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And you pass from death into life before you sleep and after you sleep. You have to believe that before you go in the water.
And also, when he said really, when he said back-to-back time, tell us what he's saying. When he said
the word verily means truly. Truly, truly.
Mm-hmm. You want to get your attention when he's saying that.
Yep. Start at verse 6. That which is born of flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Marvel not that I said unto thee, you must be born again. The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but cannot tell whence it cometh, and whither it goeth. So is everyone that is born of the Spirit. Nicodemus answered and said unto him, How can these things be? Jesus answered and said unto him, Art thou a master of Israel, and knowest not these things? Verily, verily, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and ye receive not our witness.
Okay, Rev, one other thing. Let's go back to Nicodemus. Tell me what does a Pharisee, since he described as a Pharisee, exactly what is a Pharisee?
A Pharisee ain't nothing but a lawyer.
Okay.
The scribes and the lawyers, those were those Jews, those wicked Jews that had Jesus crucified.
Mm-hmm.
That's who they were.
Okay, because in the Bible here, Pharisees, and people, saying, well, what is a Pharisee? Okay. So he knew the law, but he didn't understand. He didn't understand what God was saying.
Now, the reason they didn't understand what God is saying because they was in unbelief.
Mm-hmm.
See, when you're in unbelief, you can't please God, but you might please yourself with your personal opinion.
Mm-hmm. So right now, we have a lot of people, who listen to what Nicodemus was saying and what the Pharisees, the lawyer, was saying. There's a big difference in what actually takes place, and that when Nicodemus couldn't visualize, how can this take place? Because it's not on paper this way. And God, Christ was saying, this is a new thing and a new day, and that He came here to make a change in life and to change our lives forever. We had to understand what He was doing, and nobody wanted to listen to Him.
The reason why Nicodemus was a master of Israel, but Nicodemus cannot talk what he don't know.
Right.
So that's why he came that way, because he didn't know. And that's what they do in the churches. They keep the gospel hidden to the people.
Why is that?
That's why people say, I get baptized, I'm saved. I'm saved by going in the water. No, you're not. You got to believe the gospel before you go in the water. Water don't save. Belief saves. Jesus Christ, death, burial, and resurrection. That's what saves you from going up in hell. You go out in the water with devil and can come with the devil.
Okay. Okay, so you continue. Go ahead, sir.
If I have told you earthly things and you believe not, that unbelief is again. How should you believe if I tell you of heavenly things? And no man had ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, which is Jesus Christ, even the Son of Man, which is in heaven. He there now in heaven, waiting to come back to get us out of here, which is the next event is to rapture up the church. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. That's when Jesus was on the cross, dying for your sin, was buried and rose again. You believe that? You go to heaven. If you don't, you go to hell. That whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have eternal life. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, and whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He that believe on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he had not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. And this is the condemnation, that light is coming to the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone that doeth evil hated the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in God. After
So
these
right
things,
So right now, let's just stop it there and just kind of deal with this for another minute, okay? That you understand, even today, okay, we are somewhat confused because there's no light. You're not explaining to us exactly what's going on.
when he said there ain't no light, that there ain't no light is talking about you in unbelief.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Anything else?
Well, no, we got to leave it there because of time. We have to stop, okay? But right now, this is, we wanted to thank you for enlightening us again. This is something that we've been talking about for years about how can we get saved? And he said, look, you broke it down right here.
You break it up, Ira. You break it up.
The devil is busy. Am I okay, Scott, on your end?
Yes, we're all breaking up.
Okay. Well, then we're going to take a small break and take the rest of the beautiful words that people can hear our voices now. Thank you for listening to PresidentUSHopTalker.com. Listen to my chamber converse, where we're held aloud, and also on that note, take a small break so I can be right back. Thank you for listening. Love you to my chamber. Welcome back to London's Missouri Chamber of Commerce. We are having technical difficulties because I got a new cell phone here and it seems to be not one out. Go act right. But what happened here is this is March the 8th, 2025. And one thing is for sure, time moves on. And this weekend when we'll be changing our clocks. And this has been going on since 1918. Now, people always told this was for the farmers. That's why they changed this around for the time, the daylight saving time. That was not actually the truth. The changing the clock started back in 1916, and that was when during World War I. And the reason that Germany did it first, they were the first one to change the clocks back in 1916 during World War I, and the rest of Europe followed them. So they were trying to save fuel during the war. Because people had to run their lights and all that stuff, so they were trying to save their. And then then 2 years later, okay, the United States got on board in 1918, and since that time we gone back and forth. We changed it, but right now, this morning at 2 o'clock in the morning. You got to move your clock up 1 hour. Or the best way to do it is before you go to bed. please move your clock up 1 hour, 3 a.m. So right now, to make sure that everybody's on the same page, this afternoon, before you go to bed, make sure you change your clocks around. Now, in the meanwhile, we have been inundated in our country with a lot of changes that are taking place, and a lot of things that are taking place right now are, affecting you in your home. And one of those things is the rapid spread and mutation of a deadly bird flu virus. Now, we've been talking about this bird flu virus for a long time here on the station here, but now the United States, it's a global situation. In fact, they think that we may have to be prepared for a pandemic of this, because the close the dangerous gaps. Because right now, the H5N1 bird flu had affected almost 100 people, with this bird flu, and it is growing out of down in Texas and Mexico and those areas there where we have the birds flying around. And as a matter of fact, even in today, so say a recent breakout in West Texas, just short of 200 cases. That's just in the state of Texas. And then in the state of Texas, it tripled in a day to 30. So right now, these cases are taking place in younger people who have been unvaccinated, and whose vaccination status is unknown. So when we talk about the measles, you have to get vaccinated. And if your children going to school and they meet other kids that's not there, it will get home to you. So please do your part and get vaccinated. Make sure all your kids have all of their shots. You have all of your shots. And most people know older people have been vaccinated. So once you've been vaccinated, you're pretty much safe. Unless you come across again what is taking place here. And also, not only this affects our young people and our families and everyone in our country now, but we do not want this to come across into our country. And one of the things that's taking place, we have destroyed over, listen to this over here, almost 200 million chickens and turkeys and other birds and herds around the country. Now, what this has done, when you're killing these chickens off, that means that there are less chickens to make eggs. And so, since there are less chickens to make eggs, that means the price of eggs has gone crazy. So right now, not only is chicken eggs, the price of eggs going crazy, it also affects the cost of your beef that you have. And the ground beef thing that you eat, that they make from the cattle. Or they're killing cows right now. And really, you cannot stop it because the birds are flying. And you can't stop the birds from flying. So right now, to go along with this, we're still into the flu season. And with the weather changing like it is here, and we still dealing primarily in some cases with COVID-19 virus. So the best thing you can do to protect yourself from all this chaos and confusion is wear your face mask. Wherever you go, if you can, get your face mask. You go in a hospital, one businesses right now, they put face masks out again, so put on a face mask. People are coughing, they're sneezing, but please protect yourself. If you can, social distance, and wash your hands for your own safety. And also, please get your vaccine and watch out as the measles brand continues to spread across the country. Measles is a highly contagious viral illness that typically begins with a fever, a cough, a runny nose, and pink eye, which is lasts about 2 to 4 days, and then there's a rash. But right now, if you get 2 doses of the current vaccine, that provides 97%. Rarely does a fully vaccinated person get the measles. So please look out for yourself and your children. While this is going on in this country right now, we have had the highest job loss since the last 2 recessions ago. And right now, looking at all this is going on, the U.S.-based employers now 170,000 jobs, 72,000 jobs have been cut, and that doesn't include. Now, those includes another 63,000. That's a lot of jobs. And the U.S. economy added 151,000 jobs, but it was expected to add 150,000. The unemployment rate it rose. And also this Tuesday, and while this is going on, our economy is going through changes. Okay, according to the Fed Chairman Powell, the economy is very strong. During the third quarter, the economy grew 2.8%, and consumer spending had increased by 3.7%. The unemployment rate right now is at the lowest rate. Was at the lowest rate in 50 years under the Biden administration and the Harris administration. Now this week, okay, the unemployment rate is at 4.1%. That's up. It was up in the two not long ago. So that's because as these cuts are being taken place across the federal government, that's putting people out on jobs. People are quitting their jobs. Then there's a lot of uncertainty, and I can't give you a good answer because as things are taking place, different departments are moving around. Jobs are being cut. Here's the departments being cut. Now, this has created more chaos. This is where you're going to hear a lot of now. The stock market, the S&P posted its worst week since before September, and the central bank is in no hurry to cut interest rate. What that means, there will be no interest rate cuts no time soon. And also,
Hey, Al,
yes, sir.
I would just like to say something that we have to stop eating eggs and find something else to eat. You could change your appetite if they eat like that.
Oh, really? I think that's going away because the eggs are $5 or $6, and that's if you can find eggs.
Right.
And that doesn't even include, okay, you go, anything that's meat that you get from a cow, since those cows are being killed off also, that's going to drive up, the cost of beef, hamburgers, because almost most restaurants around the country all have hamburgers as their number one thing, and also by the way, not only chickens being killed, also they kill them chickens also.
Yeah.
So I mean, so this is something that's not a good thing. Like I said, and this is rather into the stock market because right now the stock market has been going down, constantly going down. Now keep in mind that during the Biden administration, they're going up quite a bit, but now it's beginning to fall. As a matter of fact, one of the things that's taking place here in almost everybody's neighborhood, this is about to affect almost most of the country. Walgreens has been taken into a private company now. It was just about almost $24 billion. $24 billion with a B. And this deal made it a private company now. And Walgreens has been traded over 100 years as a public company. So there's a lot of changes that's going on all around us, Rhea. It's changing us. We don't, and I guess the thing about it, as these changes are taking place, we have no control about what's going on. And right now,
it's slow down.
Right, okay, yeah, and right now,
the 8 hour, the only control we got is we just gonna have to make different adjustments in life concerning what's going on in the environment.
Yeah, well, we definitely we doing that, okay. And also, while we're doing it, the Congress right now, we're coming up on a deadline of next week. They have to come up with a balanced budget. Otherwise, the government will shut down. That will create more chaos. And right now, we familiar with Elon Musk, what he's been doing with those. They've been going to different departments.
You're cracking again.
You breaking up.
Anytime we seem to talk about the Doge and Elon Musk situation, I'm talking about the phone. That's crazy, which makes no sense. Am I still real bad, Scott?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are working at a solution to this, and we apologize, but we're going to go on another quick break. Thank you so much.
Okay, Scott, this time call me. Welcome back to Lunch with Drew Back Chamber of Commerce. There's so much going on, and like I said, right now, in the this week, the president had a couple of cabinet meetings, and in one, Elon Musk was dominated the conference meeting. The press conference was televised, but the second press conference was not televised. And in that one, a lot of the cabinet members right now are unhappy. See, everything that's going on, okay, that's not the whole cabinet, the whole country right now. We're not on a good pace. We need to talk about tariffs right quick. These tariffs right now, and this is my personal opinion, these tariffs have been around for a while, and right now with the United States, Canada, and Mexico, and China, there's a way to do anything, but most things is done in moderation. And if you're going to do something, okay, give me a plan about how we're going to do what we're going to do. That way I know what to expect. But being unexpected, not knowing, if you go waiting for the federal government, the individual is cutting thousands and thousands of jobs. You're selling off hundreds and hundreds of government buildings and stuff. You're gutting all this, okay, and you're changing all these people's lives. People used to work for the federal government to get experience, and that way our country was safe. And right now, our president is getting in arguments right now. I understand the broad we had with Zelensky and Ukraine, but guess what? They're meeting next week to try and patch up that and move forward with what's going on over there in Ukraine and with Russia. But right now, thank God I ain't come out against it. They're going on right now. Thank you, Dr. Wright. Hold on a second. Okay, right now, we're watching what's taking place in Canada, where even Canada right now is fighting, for the new administration in their country, and what we're doing is not exactly helping our neighbor to the north, our neighbor to the south, and now the crazy part about this, that if you and I, who live in our country, are watching what's going on, people around the world are watching us also. And there's a thing about social media that everybody can see what goes on nowadays. And like I said, we just had a second cabinet meeting where a lot of the secretaries, who are over different departments, they're complaining, okay, that the other departments that they just received, they have fired all the people, okay, that they need to work with. And so they come to the department, okay, they've been gutted. So that's a way to do whatever you have to do, okay? And then right now, we need to slow down a little bit and see how we can get on the same page. And then we can always pick up the piece the best way we can and move forward. And like right now, Elon Musk, who's leading this thing now, first, he's saying he's taking a bus off. Well, that's what he was saying last week. Well, this week, President Trump said you're going to use a scalpel to make sure this is precisely done. This should have been done from the start. That we have precisely go about doing things, and that's the way our country's been built, okay? That's how we have a Congress. That's how we work together to get things done. And right now, there's a lot of stuff that's going on that we need to talk about right quickly. One of the things with Elon Musk, not only, he does his own form of Twitter now, which is now have this issue with treating people. If in the budget talks right now, if you're a Republican running, you're looking for it now to be in, some budget, and the House has to pass a budget, and there's only one couple of votes difference, so that's not going to be a good deal because the government may shut down, that may cause more chaos. And right now, that is not good for us in our country right now. And while this is going on, we're looking at cutting more jobs. But in the real news, there was a man that was killed this past evening down in South Carolina. They had a firing squad where they killed him, which is kind of brutal. But they did that because in South Carolina they were trying to use chemicals and the chemicals was not going well, and they advised them over these three executions, and that was not good. And so for the first time in over a decade, we had a fire squad kill someone. And also on a national level in our news right now, Vice President Kamala Harris, former Vice President Kamala Harris, is now thinking about running for governor of California, and also in the suite of governors in the state of New York City. Former Governor Andrew Cuomo is running for mayor against Mayor Amy Adams and a lot of other candidates. And this is what's taking place right now. We get now into an early season where you have a lot of turmoil, a lot of town hall meetings, which you normally have from your congressman who come talk to you about what's going on. Well, when you have those meetings, people right now are being shut down, and unfortunately, the Congress, the Speaker has told the people right now, the Republicans, don't hold town hall meetings. Well, if you don't have a town hall meeting, how are you going to talk to your constituents? And so what this is going to do, we got more people running for office right now against those people, and there will be a change coming very shortly. Right now, you got to talk to the people. We are the ones that actually vote. We're the one that actually determine what should go for, what should not go for. And just to give you a good example of that, you say the St. Louis. You know, we just had an election this past Tuesday where our mayor, Charlotte Jones, came in second in a four-way race. And since the St. Louis had changed their system now, we have the top two people in the primary running in the general. Well, in St. Louis, they had that 50% of the people turn out to vote, which is very embarrassing. But also, that's going on in St. Louis. But right now, they're going to run again against each other in April, and it just may be possible that she may be able to beat Alderwoman Kara Spencer in the runoff. Who knows? But people got to get out and vote. You can complain about what's going on, but if you don't vote, ain't nothing taking place. Now, that's not a good word. Ain't nothing. Nothing is going properly. But we need to get out there and voice our own selves about what we can do. And also, one of the things that's constantly around our country, we watching carjacking and murders. And right now, we had a little 9-year-old kid, 9-month-old kid, just was killed in a murder homicide. That's this past week. So right now, these murders, these guns, and people right now are depressed. They're unhappy. But right now, this got to cease. It's not increasing. It's increasing, but not decreasing. Now, that's a lot I just said. We have technical difficulties, but so far we've done pretty good. So we may have figured out what was going wrong there. And also, right now, before we go any further here, make sure that another thing that's not good. We was very successful in our space program, Mr. Musk's space program, the SpaceX Starship, which is the one that was carrying up the satellites into space, which was talking about going to the moon. Well, unfortunately, his program just disintegrated because the last two satellites that went up there, like the one just the other day, it kind of had to blow it up. So this is the second time that this is taking place. So right now, there's lots of that's going on, and hopefully next week we'll be, when we get back to you, we will be able to have this technical difficulty worked out. But right now, without any further ado, we'll take a small break, come out with our very special guest, talk about what's going on, and learn a little bit about history. Scott, and then listen to Ferguson, USCHotPowerRadio.com on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Some people is about to check out camera. His name is Aaron Folks. That's Elder Lyles. That's Scott Owen. We'll be right back with great Dr. Wright. John Wright. Scott, take us out of here. Welcome back to Lunch with Missouri Right Chamber of Commerce. And so far, keep your prayers up and best it down. We're doing pretty well right now with the technology. But having said that, we're so fortunate to be joined by Dr. John Wright. We have him as an educator, but Dr. Wright has worn so many hats in time. Dr. Wright, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And so, Dr. Wright, rather than me trying to tell people about you, okay, why don't you start off telling us about, I know you got started, here in St. Louis in our educational system, which is in disarray also. But kind of tell us a bit some of the hats that you have worn in your education.
Well, I started out as a teacher in St. Louis Public Schools.
Yes, sir.
And as a teacher, then a principal. Then I went to Webster Groves.
Mm-hmm.
Then I stayed there, and then I was superintendent of Kinloch Public School District.
Mm-hmm.
Then from there, I went to Ferguson Florissant after the merger, a court-ordered merger of 3 districts, Berkeley, Kinloch, and Ferguson Florissant. And I stayed there except for 2 years when I took a leave to work for the Board of Aldermen and the Board of Education. Then I came back to Ferguson Florissant.
Okay, now what did you do, sir, when you went from the Board of Aldermen and what were your tasks that you were tasked with?
I was executive director for the Citizen Education Task Force to try to improve learning outcomes for the children of St. Louis Public Schools.
Okay. And then the reason I asked you to repeat that, sir, because it seems like we're at a point now we need to convene another task force, something similar to that.
Well, so much turmoil, I stopped after 2 years and went back to Ferguson, Florida, because we couldn't get anything done. Between the union, the school board, there's so much argument and tied up. There was no time given to improve instruction.
Wow.
And I thought it was just a waste of my time. So I went back to Ferguson, Florida, and I stayed there until I retired.
Okay.
And I was home for 3 years. Then I was asked to be superintendent of schools in Northern School District.
Mm-hmm.
We did a search. And I was there for a year. Then the day I left there, I was asked to do interim for St. Louis Public School.
Yes, sir.
Stayed there, and then I came home. I've been home since 2008. Now, I was asked to come back to St. Louis to be an interim school board member.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that. And I told them I wasn't running. I've been on the U City School Board for 6 years, on the Community College Board of Trustees for 6 years. I was on the St. Louis County Board of Education. So I had enough of running school boards. And so that was not my desire to have another term on the school board. So,
okay, now, sir, that's why I was about to ask you now, because it seems as though, as you do, I did a little research, most superintendents, the older time the superintendent was still around about 10, 15 years, okay, before he retired. But now it seems as though the most superintendents right now are staying at a maximum of 5 years and they retire. Why is that?
There's so much turmoil, man. It's turmoil. It's board members who want to do things for friends rather than for children. So you have a lot of problems. And kids are not the focus. And programming is not the focus. We're at things where people want to do stuff for their friends. Their cousins are pointing. I know there was someone, when I was in Normandy, they were telling me someone was a friend of a person, and they were causing so much hell. I told them, stay home. I wasn't renewing their contract. It was in April. I said, stay home for the rest of the year. And I'm not going to renew your contract and don't come back. It caused too much turmoil on the building. And so
Wow.
I put them out. I didn't worry about getting fired because I was interim, man. You're not going to have me back anyway. I didn't want to get back. So You couldn't hold that over my head by saying that you don't do that.
But Dr. Wright, that's one of the things, okay, that as you look at your past history there, people never talked about why you left those different positions, okay. But I know not only were you an educator, I think the city of St. Louis asked you to wear some other hats. When the mayor came in, that she wanted you to come be part of her administration.
Who's that?
The current mayor of St. Louis, she asked you to be part of her administration.
She had to be on the school board.
Right, I'm be on the school board. I'm going to be on the school board. And right now, our school board is in turmoil, as you just said, because of favoritism.
I said I was not going to run. I was told that they found someone to run.
Mm-hmm.
But I filled in for her. But I wasn't going to run for school board.
I understand that. Well, right now, Dr. Wright, as you look at your career there, but you also did some things that were international in your career also.
Right. I was vice dean of the Council of Core College in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
I was honorary counsel for the Republic of Senegal, and I was on the World Trade Center board. And so those are some things I did in that. Then I did Fulbright in India. I did that one summer.
Okay, now what's a Fulbright? People in Spain, what a Fulbright is, what that actually means.
What it is, you study a different culture, and you won. They're all over the world. A Fulbright scholarship, you're chosen because of your scholastic endeavors. I was one of 12 that went to India in '82 for the summer, going to all parts of India, looking at educational institutions and culture there. And so then you give talks and you come back and you pass that information on. But it was that. And I'm still in touch with one of the guys. We were together, and some of the folks, another one, we were together. He passed away. There were three of us. We stayed in touch with each other since '82. And so that was a good experience. And then I did a Thai teacher exchange with Thai, the administrative exchange with Thai for Thailand. I did that.
Wow. Okay, now, as you look at, since you have some international experience right now, our education system in our country right now is taking a hit now, because nationally we're not doing well, and nationally, there's not a large supply of teachers right now to teach kids. So what are some of the things, since you're not in, you don't have to work for anybody right now, what are some of the things that you see that how we can kind of improve things, not just here in St. Louis, but most of the country, where we are right now, trying to find good teachers, trying to retain teachers, and also not just the urban, but in rural areas. What are some suggestions you could give us as we're talking to right here, to our whole entire country about how we can improve ourselves?
Well, I think you have to have a belief. When you go into the classroom, you have to have a belief in your students.
Mm-hmm.
I taught special ed.
Mm-hmm.
My first teaching assignment.
Okay.
And I went in and they said, one special, always special.
Now, what is special ed, first of all?
That's the kids who are behind in achievement, supposed to be mentally retarded.
Okay.
When I work with my students,
Mm-hmm.
Some of them took the test for high school and passed. What a teacher who was having classroom problems, and the principal had my girls to keep the class while she went out and learned how to teach.
Mm.
So it's a matter of believing students, and everything's possible. There's a movie, Stand and Deliver. Jaime Escalante went in places where they thought he couldn't do it. The kids passed the test.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to go with a mission. When I was in Normandy, I met with principal and said, how can I help you? They said, you're the first
person's in the church that ask me, how can I help you? Everybody tell me what I don't do and what I need to do. But no one's going to enter my school and say, how can I help you? Now that's bad. So you can't run the district from the desk. You have to go out. You don't tell people you're coming. You may go into the back door, the kitchen door. Next thing you know, you're in the hall walking. Look at the classrooms. When I was on the personnel, the Friends and Folsom School District, they just tell me about this one teacher who was yelling and screaming all the time. So I went up to the school, and I didn't know I was coming, but I went out in the hall. She was yelling and screaming at the kids. So you have to correct that. And principals who know it, when I go to the Kennesaw School District, we had one woman who didn't want to deal with the teacher who couldn't handle the kids because she was a past superintendent's daughter. She was sound asleep in the classroom, out, and the kids, young kindergarten kids, traumatized. So I got someone to take her home, and we delivered her to the house. So she can't stay. Mentally ready. And I found someone to take her. The family was bad. It was that bad. Yes. You know, I was talking to an administrator just yesterday in a rural school district, and he's one of our members of the Missouri Chamber of Commerce in rural Missouri, and he was saying that trying to deal with the kids in the classroom, that most teachers right now, that they originally worked, on the grade school level, he's been promoted to the high school level, because mainly that they have found that some of the female teachers, were being overrun by their students. By the what? By the students right now, was not giving them the respect, the teacher the respect that she should have gotten. Well, when I started teaching, I may have had a jump. I worked at juvenile court when I first got out of school. That was at the Kansas Center. So I knew every thug in the neighborhood. And so when you're at the detention center, some days when nobody shows up, you run the floor about 90-some kids by yourself. Wow. You know the thugs, and you get to know them, and they need to know you. When I was in Marshall, the kids had taken over the playground, so the principal couldn't do anything, and teachers couldn't send the kids out. And I went out and said, look, fellas, and I knew them by name. I think it makes a difference when you know them by name. I said, you folks, you got to give us a break now. It's okay to play basketball, but you got to stop the basketball playing with the kids at recess. Okay, Mr. Wright. Okay, Mr. Wright. Okay. And that was it. But I knew him by name. Well, see, Dr. Wright, right now, I think, you just listen to what you just said, okay? The problem is that there's no respect. The teacher, you got to earn respect. You can't give respect. And I think that's where the problem comes in here. Would you agree? Oh, yeah. You got to earn it. I've got letters that my wife passed away, but I'm going through her stuff. I got letters to kids that's written her. Kids written her after they got married, and called her on the phone, and something she used to have at the house for lunch. And so, yeah, that's respect. She loved them. Well, right now, Doctor. Dr. Wright, as we have this conversation, one of the problems that we in the black community, we're trying to the Missouri Chamber of Commerce. Our goal is to help black business owners, thrive or create new businesses and stuff. And just understanding what we just talked about here right now with the educational system, trying to teach someone early on about what black businesses need, okay, that's an uphill battle. Am I right?
It's not impossible. You gotta believe when you get into something, you gotta know what you're getting into.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta be willing to go with it. You gotta. It's not easy, and I wouldn't tell anyone it's easy, but it's work. And once you get a reputation, it's after you get your reputation, it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
Easier. You got to win respect, and then you can do. I remember a kid got suspended, and hearing get terminated from school.
Mm-hmm.
Parents didn't show up, and I was the only one in this termination here. So I been dropped the reputation from him because I was at his suspension from school.
Wow. Dr. Wright, one of the things that I understand, and of course you do, I knew that first of all that your education that you got early on in your career, in your life, okay, you came from a black high school that's still around. Tell us about your high school experience that you focus, okay, on being who you are.
Yeah, I was a Southern.
Mm-hmm.
It's the oldest high school west of the Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
But I had teachers, blessed with some teachers, who gave a lot because they couldn't get any place else but high school.
Mm.
Who else came up in a segregated world, Grace Montgomery had Kenneth Phillips, a great instructor, because whites wouldn't hire.
Wow.
So, Robert McFerrin had some of the high school teachers. We had Charles Turner was hired in Sumner because white institution wouldn't hire him. He did one of the top scientists in the country. He still did it at Sumner High School.
And also Sumner, had the Mr. Richard Hudlin, was a great teacher over there also.
Who?
Richard Hudlin.
Oh yeah. Hudlin was a tennis man. He did Arthur Ashe.
I know. He trained Arthur Ashe, who became one of the first back to win a Wimbledon championship.
And Ashe stayed at his own.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't worry about where you lived at that time. Hudlin got Arthur Ashe to stay with him.
Mm.
And he was living in Richmond Heights.
Oh,
Arthur
okay.
Ashe came back and forth with him every day.
Okay. Well, that meant that right there, there was a trust factor there, but at the same time, the fact that I know one of my very good friends, and I'm the chairman of Reverend Larry Brown, listening to us right now, he came out of Sumner High School, and I know you know him personally because you guys have raised him for years, but he's been one of the leaders in our black community for years, okay, but he's also a Sumner graduate.
Larry Brown?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was engaged to his sister.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah, so I know that's what I said. So I know it personally, okay.
I know Larry well.
Yeah, but he's been like a staple in the community for many years, so not just as a rapper, but as a businessman.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Larry very well.
Yeah, and he's been like say, but he's been one of the person that gives and gives, You know, and also, by the way, when we speak about it, okay, we want to set some prayers up there right now because he's also going through some dialysis. Right now, pray for him, have a speedy recovery, get a kidney real soon. But there's people like this, okay. Now, by the way, I didn't tell people when we started the program. Dr. White, how old are you?
I'm 87, 85, brother.
85, okay, 85 years old.
86 this year.
Okay, 86. And if you're smarter, than the average boo-boo. Not being funny here, I say that, but you're smart. You understand. Your mind is still clicking. But it's your experiences, okay. Is that we need more so now than ever before to share this with people, okay, about what you had to do to be successful and to make other people successful. What we need right now is for people like yourself who can find other people who need to pour into our kids. You said one thing was very important. The kids, we got to respect you. You got to earn their respect.
Right. And it comes to you can't fake Gary. It comes to if you're phony, it comes to.
Mm-hmm.
You can't fake that you like kids.
Mm-hmm. Well, Dr. Wright, one of the things that in schools nowadays, is totally different because now, most classes right now are being taught about a computer or something, about somebody on the video screen, since they have the shortage of teachers right now. So what are some things that we can that we can share right now with different parents who listen to us right now, how they can improve their kids' relationship with their teachers? What would you say?
I have to go through that. I don't know how many are being taught by computer skills. I know about teacher. He retired. He went back because they offered him $1,000 a day.
Wow.
So he went back to school, and he wanted to be just a sub. Now he's teaching charge of the building.
It's what now?
He's in charge of the building when the principal's absent.
Okay.
So he's done well. He enjoys that, but he's tired.
Okay.
He's glad to get conversation besides talking to young folks all day. So he looks forward to doing other things too.
Okay, now, Dr. Wright, one of the things, in your career, I know that early on that we had a lot of men that were teachers. I know, like Bishop Wooten, who was one of the top bishops in the entire world. And he was also educated. They came from Harrisville College, Teachers College, early on. I think that's where you graduated from, am I right?
Yeah, a lot of men because they couldn't get jobs in other fields. I have a friend, Richard Shelton, ended up being a IBM executive. He went to teaching. We went to Harris Stowe. It was $20 a semester when we joined, which is college.
Wow.
$20 a semester.
That's cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap. You could try college, Well, a lot of folks who tried it, and after the first semester they decided it wasn't for them. So we had a high turnover every semester, but it gave everybody an opportunity to try it. And so we had a lot of folks who tried it. And
Well, I know, right? Go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
no, I'm just thinking about Jordan McFarland. Father had a big church on Taylor Avenue. He quit saying, I found the Lord. So he stopped teaching and started preaching.
Okay.
They built that church on Taylor Avenue near Delmar.
Okay. And that became a very successful church.
Yeah, George passed away, but that was
Dr. Wright, I guess nowadays the teachers right now, you're getting more men back now into the classroom than you had in many years. That should be a very good thing, am I right?
Oh, yeah. Many of them have found jobs in other fields. That's the problem now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know right now one of the things that we're looking at is that we need to be able to improve ourselves in every way that we can. And education is the one vehicle that we all need to have, because right now, with all the technology that's coming down the pipe now, it's daunting to be able to keep track of stuff.
It's not only black men who's not doing it. White ones aren't either. When I was teaching for Webster, for a time I used to teach out of state, and I had very few men in my class.
Mm.
They coached, and that was it.
Mm.
So not only did we lose black men, white ones aren't going for it either.
Mm. Well, like right now, like I said, jobs are getting tighter and tighter right now, and I guess the one thing that education helps people to understand, because as we look at our country right now, I might not be on the spot, but if you look at what's going on right now in our country currently, what are some of the thoughts that you could give?
Work it up, Al.
Okay, Scott, am I okay?
No, you are breaking up. Let's take a real quick break, and I'll call you back.
Okay, Dr. Wright, hold on. Hold on. Okay. Okay, Scott. Because the person here is not already Dr. Life is good, he said. Okay, Dr. Wright, welcome back to lunch. Okay, we're back with you, sir, and sorry for that situation there, but I was saying to you right now, as you look at right now in the year 2025, what are some of the things that you would suggest that people who consider going to being educators right now, because we still need some good educators for us to understand what's going on in our country? Would you agree?
Oh, yeah, but you got it. One thing I think, we got too much dumb leadership out there, too.
Okay.
I'm serious. I got 2 kids with education. I hear all the dumb stuff that goes on by those in charge. Right?
When you said dumb stuff, okay, give us an example.
I have one son who, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, sir. You were loud and clear.
I have one son who was a principal.
Mm-hmm.
And his staff was predominantly white. Mm-hmm. He went out and recruited a black staff member. Mm-hmm. And the one, his supervisor, thought that person would be good at another building and took it from him. So he got upset over it. And so the guy said, I don't like your attitude. You're upset, huh? He said, yeah, well, go home. So he sat home. And so the building was on, pilot for 3 days with no one running it. They realized you did need a principal to run the building. And he sent the principal home.
Whoa. Let's back up, okay?
What do you want me to back up?
So why did they send the principal home?
Because he was upset because he took his staff. dad that he went out and recruited.
Wow.
Because he expressed anger because he went out and found the teachers recruit and supervised the temple. And he didn't want to.
Wow.
So, but it's interesting, when I was at, that's the same with public school. When I was asked to be interim superintendent, the guy told somebody, I guess I need to leave.
Need to leave.
He left.
You know that's right. Now, just listen to your conversation. I can understand now the reason why the kids are having so many problems trying to learn. It's all it's not them. It's it's grown folks issues.
Oh yeah, you got a lot of grown folks issues. You got a lot of folks out there who are playing school. They don't know what they're doing. And and then you got a lot of teachers who need support, principals who need support.
Well, I know in the Missouri, and I'm embarrassed to say, but we wanted to force states, they're kind of paying teachers to teach schools. Salary-wise.
I know my high school, Sumner.
Mm-hmm.
About every 3 years they get a new principal, 2 or 3 years.
Mm.
You can't grow a school with that kind of turnover of administration.
Mm-hmm.
You can't.
And then also you have a constant turnover with superintendents also.
Oh yeah. It's hard to find superintendents who want to deal with it.
And I think at the end of the day, that's that there's no consistency because I guess each superintendent will come in, he has a vision, that what he has for that school, what they want, what they want to get accomplished, during his administration, in his legacy. And to get that done, he needs some support. Some people that work with him, that and sell them on the idea of what he want to do.
But you've got to have a board that don't have too much English. Like I remember one school that's board member my wife is a teacher, and one of the board members said, I came by her room, I just know my daughter's going to get an A. And that daughter's a problem. I know my daughter's going to get an A. No, she didn't get an A. But that's...
and that's not just that one kid, but every parent feels their kids are smart.
Yeah, but you just can't. You got to be a parent, and you got to be supported, and you don't put that on per teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And so teachers afraid to do their job because of board members. And some board members just want to go on trips. You got small districts. Sometimes in small districts, the school is the highest, the biggest employer. And so everybody's kin and relates to each other. But you got to tell the board, if you want to save the kids, Junebug, Mary's son, is messing up. And Junebug can't stay there. And you got to convince the board that Junebug can't stay there. And put with documentation. Because I remember when I was superintendent, this one guy was a board member's relative, and he was throwing that bombardment in the classroom. Bad weather, breaking out the lights. Right, and I said, look, if you don't do something, you'll get a suit. So you can, this guy won't mind, he won't follow instructions, but somebody's going to get hurt. I'm putting you on notice. It's a problem. You want to keep him, but you got to know it's a problem. I'm putting you on notice. I'm not going to put the blame for it. So they talked with him, and he didn't do it, and so he got terminated. But I tell him, it's a problem. If you don't do something, somebody's going to get hurt. And you're going to get sued. But I'm letting you know what's going on. And I'm not going to be a part of this.
Dr. Wright, as we look at it right now, what we need most of all, that we have to have is basic education. And unfortunately, one of the problems that we got to deal with, and is not being dealt with, is vaccination for the children right now is not what it used to be. And now, and it should be what it is now. How can we make sure that the parents are aware that they need to have their kids vaccinated? What can we do about something like that?
Well, what you have to do is put the facts out there. Look, we're offering this to your kids. Here are the records. Kids with schools or kids aren't vaccinated, they have a greater chance of dying. So here's the facts. This is where we are. If you don't care about your kids dying, don't get them vaccinated. But the chances are, if you don't, you'll be part of the statistics like it is at other schools that don't have it. But death is a reason you want to do it, to avoid death. And here's what happened in places that didn't do it, and the kids die, and they get sick. So if you don't mind your kid getting sick, you don't mind Junebug dying, you're okay. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you care about your kid, you got to take care of it.
Dr. Wright, I think the fact that you just laid it out like that, and I'm not sure that's how it's being done with people right now. They being that direct. They're telling them that it's life and death. Because that's we get anybody's attention.
Yeah. But you got to lay it out in front of them.
Well, Dr. Wright, not only is that a problem in the schools, about people laying it out, but I think right now, what we need to do as a whole, this is my personal opinion, that if we understand the school system, okay, you have to understand, have some way to read. Now, people not aware, but most newspapers and most stuff like that, it's written at a 6th grade level, am I right?
I think we try to be nice and polite. But that's all day, man. You should be. But you got to be truthful, too. You got to be truthful. Some people don't want to hear it. The kids don't want to hear it. And I got to tell friends, I just tell some friends, I got friends who are hard-headed. I just say, look, I'm not going to just tell us where you want to ship the body out, Just tell us where you want to put it. I'm not going to argue with you. Let the family know where your body to be shipped. Because where you're going, you're not going to make it. So no need to argue. No, just leave a note where you want your body to be shipped.
Wow. Now that is definitely getting to the point, and people should be hearing it and understanding that these are the facts of life.
Yeah.
And Dr. Wright,
that's one of the things that across our country, people are not being factual, direct, I should say, when they come to explain to people what the facts are.
I think the better administrators have a relationship with teachers,
Mm-hmm.
the better they can get that message over, because they trust you.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that relationship, they don't care what you say. But if you have that relationship with the students and the parents,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if the kid gets sick, have teachers, we'll have principals, we'll always say, what I want all y'all to do is call home, talk to the parents, every now and then, call the house, see things are going. So that's what we did. That's part of the plan. First week of school, he wanted all first teachers to call home. So that's what we did.
Okay, and how successful was that with the kids? Showing more improvements.
But I used to go when kids, when the word went out when I was teaching,
Mm-hmm.
they had a party down the street at so-and-so's house. The parents aren't home. And, you know, you went in through the back alley, because they didn't have a front door. You had to go through the back alley. And so, I remember I wouldn't do this today because I'm supposed to shoot you. But I went to the back alley and knocked on the door. Mr. Wright at the door. Mr. Wright, they hear me dodging and getting in there. So, but you have to go, and so folks know you're going to come.
But see, Dr. Wright, that's the thing. See, you went, like you said, over and beyond because you cared about your students.
Yeah. But today, hell, some of them may shoot you. But
Yeah.
how much you get in?
Well, let me ask you a question, Dr. Wright. You know, and they probably, don't talk about it. But how big is the problem right now with young people, having problems with people bringing guns and stuff to school? Is that a big problem?
Probably some places it is. Some places I know when I went to a meeting with high schools, when you came in the door, you had to go to a metal detector to get in the building. So it's
Wow.
guns were
Right.
we didn't have that when I was working. So I'm just glad I don't have to deal with it now. Because some kids don't even talk and debate with you, pull out the gun and shoot you.
Right. Dr. Wright, one of the things that social media, if people watching so much negative stuff on TV, the young people are, how much of an effect does that have on the reality for them in life?
A lot, They live in a world that's changing constantly. It's corruption all over. When you got a president who's guilty of so many times, crimes, and in office.
Well, yeah, even
know that.
the 34 convictions.
Yeah, they hear that on the news. And there's some communities where, even when we were young, I knew where the policies were going on, the numbers game was going on. Everybody knew where it was, except people in authority. They claimed they didn't know. And the numbers game was going. You got the results on the mailbox on the fence in the apartment building. Every few months, they raided the place where the numbers was being played, and then after a couple of days, business as usual.
Just for the sake of clarification, Dr. Wright, I only hear the word the numbers game. Is that exactly how how has that looked back in those days?
What do you mean, how was it?
And I mean, you know, like I said, people like now, you know, you're trying to, you know, as a disciplinarian, as a superintendent, and then from the superintendent down to the principal, how effective right now, you know, how hard is it right now to get that line of communications set up?
Well, this was, you just in the neighborhood, you knew what was going on. You didn't have to go back to school because kids were doing the numbers. But you knew it was crooked out there.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knew what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And little kids, some kids were even taking the money over, putting it on for mom and dad.
Oh, wow.
You know.
So right now, you know, for us to get a change, we got to start down at that level to go up to the top. Am I right?
Yeah. But
That's you.
it's a different world now.
Well, we've been joined right now by Mr. Chuck DeVoto. How you doing, Chuck?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chuck. We're talking to Dr. Wright, okay? He's a former educator, and we're trying to talk to get an understanding. For us to have leadership, you know, and create new leaders, okay, we got to start in the school. And so we just today just trying to just get some understanding. I know you know a little bit about education because your wife's an educator herself. But how difficult it is right now, first of all, to get good teachers, to get superintendents, or to get good teachers. Now, how difficult it is for the students to understand and get respect for their teachers.
But you have to respect the kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard sometimes.
Yeah.
Listen. But you can't give up. Can't give up.
Well, anyway, so Chuck,
and you'll win some kids, and some you won't win.
mm-hmm.
Those you win, they keep the other kids in line.
Mm-hmm.
They'll say, "Oh man, he's okay. You got leave him alone. That man knows what he's doing. Leave him alone."
Mm-hmm.
And they take up they say, "Mr. Right here knows it. Leave him alone. He's okay."
Mm.
And they'll correct the other kids.
Well, Dr. Wright, right now, I want to thank you, okay, for taking the time. Just give us an overview, you know, how things have changed, you know, and how difficult for these speech. Give us a roadmap showing how we need to, what we need to do, okay, to try to make a difference in our schools. And just let people know what's going on now with the chaos that's going on in the schools, you know, and how bad it is, unfortunately. But no one tells us about that.
I'd say the parents should visit the school. So sometimes you gotta go inside the school until there's a problem.
Mm.
And if you visit the school, that'll also make people do right.
Yes, sir.
Parents, white schools, you got parents in it. It's hard for principal to run the building because parents interfering all the time. But it keeps the bad stuff out too.
Well, Dr. Wright, we're gonna eat. Well, Dr. Wright, I hate to cut you off, Dr. Wright, but right now we're gonna change over to Chuck. Chuck, right now, I'm sorry, what you said, Dr. Wright?
Okay.
Thank you for your time, sir. And like we will be talking more today or not more. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Okay, take care now.
Okay, yes, sir. Chuck DeVoto III, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Okay, I know that you know a little bit about education. Give us your thought right now about education out in our school now as we're trying to raise up new leaders, okay, to have new businesses, but we got to start at that level, reaching out. And give us your thoughts on that.
I think we all got to work together because it's complicated. There's a lot of issues. And you can start with asking the teachers, and then there's they reach a point where they say they're doing all they could do. They need some help. So some of that has to do with are we offering the right curriculum from a vocational standpoint? Does a kid have to go to school if they don't want to go to school, or do they want to go to school because they know that's how they can make a living or have a living? And there's different levels for different dispositions. Kids that are, let's say, upwardly mobile or coming from a higher demographic family, those schools are so well equipped and so disciplined, and the right teachers, and they're teaching what stuff you need to know. And surprisingly, I haven't researched it, but they want their kids to have a full education. They want them to know the facts. From my experience, I have not seen them shy away from topics like slavery. Now, I won't go into the curriculum part. I'm not all the way up to speed to understand completely what is critical race and all that kind of stuff. But that was an issue that was brought in the educational environment that's impacted by the federal government. So we're looking at the disruption and if a kid, and I should say kid, let's say somebody in between elementary school, junior high, and high school, you kind of fall into a path or a track. And those kids that are given exposure to video technology, or we see science fairs and things, and there's some phenomenal things happening. That's where we need to support and offer resources to those that want it, have something to feed them and to drive them and keep them going. And then there are those that are just disruptive and maybe only going to school because that's what they're forced to do. There may be a different or a separate environment for those. But I know this has all been said before, all been tried before, and it's going to have to start at home.
Right.
You could look for whatever resources you want, but it's going to have to start, with the man in the mirror.
But Chuck, I'm not going to take a lot of time on that. I think you guys echo what Dr. Wright just said. The time that he's on there with us. That
You're breaking up, Ira.
Okay, how's that? Am I still breaking up?
You're still breaking up.
Chuck, hold on 1 second. Okay, we'll take a little small break. We have some kind of difficulties last couple of weeks here. But just hold on, and Chuck, we can take a small break. This is a lunch with your Chamber of Commerce on PrivilegeUSHotTalkRadio.com. Life is good, Scott. Take it out here right quick. Welcome back to lunch with the Missouri Chamber of Commerce on a beautiful Saturday afternoon here in St. Louis, up where you are. And also, we want to say thank you for Dr. Wright and the time you spent with us today, trying to understand this education system, some of the problems that we're having. We're trying to highlight that. And having said that, this is Chuck DeBoe. We missed you last week. You've been away from us. So tell us, what has Chuck DeBoe been up to?
We're in a mode, in a time when we're transitioning. We're launching new programming and some new initiatives. So we've just been between meetings and jumping around. No exotic travel or anything like that.
Well, Chuck, I guess me ask this question. Okay, with all the changes that are taking place in our country today, give us your thoughts on some of that.
That's a loaded question, but I tell you.
Well, it's kind of loaded, okay, but right now, because like a lot of business leaders right now, you know,
It's a fair question, though. It's a fair question, and it's a question that needs to be asked to somebody that's daring to be in a position of leadership. So I'm glad you asked it, and I think it's really relevant.
Well, I know from what you...
And I'm trying not to
what I do,
repeat
yes.
things that we've said previously, but this is probably the most crucial. You know, you hear this all the time, but this one seems to be the most crucial until the next most crucial comes along. So for now,
Okay.
today, looking in history, if you don't pay attention, if you don't pick a strategy, if you don't pick some reaction to what's going on, you're gonna find yourself like double down. You're not just gonna be behind. You're gonna be like 3, 4, 5 times behind.
Mhm.
And part of that is how you choose to react. And I'm gonna say to the things you can't control. Can't as in cannot control. How do you react? And I'm gonna be a little bit. I'll be real. I'll be critical.
Then me, Chuck, just break it down.
If you want to go out here and protest and boycott, you can. But what is your strategy? How does that impact you? Or have we figured it out? Do we know? Is there a ABC or phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, or where are we going with it? You know, when we boycott, we're going and we're asking with a strategy or something. But in this game here, it's already set up. You can't bring the 1950s back in 2025. In the era of AI, they've already scoped it out, planned it out in strategy, and don't necessarily take it personal as that it's against you, or what? What is the bigger picture? In other words, I'm saying that I do not believe it's to eradicate black people. I believe it's to eradicate any kind of differentiations that had been festering within the federal government and the structural society, to where different aspects of it were starting to be manipulated and used to the advantage of one group versus another. And particularly as it related to DEI. I don't know if you notice it, but whenever DEI comes up, they start talking about using that phrase, that word about woke.
Mm-hmm.
And woke has become synonymous with gay rights. Well, people can argue that, but that's. I'm just going by what I'm hearing and seeing in the news.
Chuck, right now, one of the things that you just hit on there is that the titles of the names that have been given for things over the years. First, there was a time when you said minorities, you meant black folks, okay? But over the years, that became so encompassing that you didn't mention black folks. Then you came with DEI, okay? And then all of a sudden, that got redefined as something else, okay? And it became like the thing that was being attacked. So with all these different things in the media that's being attacked and not being attacked, that's why I'm saying it's a loaded question I asked you. But how can we see through some of the things and suggestions you give us as a leader?
I got you here. Here's some of the things a lot of people don't. It's not made part of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go by like following the money,
Mm-hmm.
so we're hearing a version of following the money from the whole Doge experience, and following where did the federal government actually spend the money, and what was this? And they go, oh, look at all this money that went here, look at all this money that went there. Well, as it related to DEI, there were corporate monies that was written off and put in the budget that were for DEI spend. And then there was the federal government DEI spend, or what they were spending money on. And it really went to certain types of things and to certain types of organizations. So because of the partisanship element of it, meaning that the Democrats were implementing the legislation on it, they were implementing the administration of it, they were really allocating the budgets that went with it. It was very partisan politics. If you weren't down, if you weren't part of the crew, if you weren't approved and agreed to, you weren't going to get any of that money that was being allocated and spent for those types of things. So it does fudge over into racial differentiation, or how you know, are you a black or Hispanic or a woman, a white woman, or whatever. It did get into that. So what the Republicans have done, have come in and studied where the money went. I mean, it ain't even a study. It's a matter of artificial intelligence. These supercomputers, it doesn't take them 30 seconds to go through it, just put everything together on what's connected and what's not. That's how fast it is. They can go in tonight and run through the servers and be done by morning. And say, okay, we're good. We're moving on to something else today. So the thing about it is that DEI really just was being shut down completely and cut off the gray areas of the way money was spent and then who was benefiting or not. In other words, so all of us that have a child that's played in a sports team or something, and, you know, in this day and age, so you're trying to say, you know, is my child good enough to make the team? And then you get out there and you say, well, wait a minute, they put this kid on the team, but he's not as tall, or he's not as fast, or he doesn't shoot, he doesn't hit his free throws, or, you know, it seemed like we're just as good as they are. Why shouldn't we have a chance to make it? And that's where the things you don't control, or the things you can't see, or let's say the politics or what goes on behind the scenes, all start to come into play. Now, it always existed in society, whether DEI or not. You know, there's always, and historically, it's like, well, you live in a certain neighborhood, so we're not going to insure you, or we're not going to give you the same rate or the better rate. Or you black. You know, it just jumped in my head, because you black, you better get back. You know, it used to be kind of like that. Now, so I'm going the opposite direction with it this time, and I'm like saying, okay, so you want a level playing field. You want us to come out and be general market. You want to have us question whether we could be the National Black Chamber of Commerce, or whether we just got to be the National Chamber of Commerce. And either way, you set the rules. If we can't control it, you know, we're going to go ahead, we're going to be us. But by all means, it is not going to stop us. If the first, you be careful what you wish for, is we get ready to be the best. We get ready to be the best on whatever league we're playing in, whatever platform we're on. And now we're open for general business. Yeah, that's right. Everybody, anybody and their mama, it doesn't matter where you live, or what church you go to, or how you grew up, or what color is your dad, what ethnicity are you, and all. It don't matter. It's about that money now. It's about getting to it. And so, even though I'm not a big proponent of the boycott, these folks is out here driving the stock value down of these companies. You know, I mean, it's painful. It hurts. But see, then the corporation can say, wait a minute. The federal government told us we got to do it a certain way, and now y'all gonna punish us for being legal or following the law. See, that's where you got to be careful. You don't want to hurt the wrong thing, but then the White House is asking us, the black business community at large, just saying, or not just black, small business. We'll say small business. They ask the small business, can you please let us know what's working? What policies do we have that are getting good results? let us know what's working too. Everybody let them know what ain't working, what's not going on. So to answer your question, to sum it up, right now the number one message is communication. The number two is let's work together. The number three is be ready. Are you look at yourself in the mirror? This is kind of like when it's like you give your car your summer inspection or before winter. Winter's coming, so you gotta get it ready for winter. Well, you just gotta take and look. What are we good at? Where we need help at? And one of those areas that's gonna come right away is you gotta be up on the technology.
We're 5 minutes, gentlemen.
Okay, thanks, Scott. Chuck, I was listening when you talking there, okay, and one of the things that over the years that if we look at this, how blacks have got involved. One of the things Dr. Wright was saying that we should have more men in education because there's some people can get a job. Well, if we look at take the analogy now, okay, what we talk about right now, whereas as we identify, if you're black, you're not getting a fair shot. Now you wanted a fair shot. Now you're getting a fair shot, and now you got to be ready, and you got to be able to step up, okay, and be able to step up there and be able to fight, take a position that I'm going to be good at what I do, and how would I be the best? Am I right on this?
I think I don't even think it's questionable. I think it's so obvious, and I think it's so black and white. But see, here's the real. We don't have to debate it. It's like, man, I got things to do. I got someplace to be. I got goals and things to achieve. We're not sitting around here arguing or kicking it at the barbershop. I'm looking at my watch, man. I got about another 2 good hours left in the day. What more do I need to achieve today to be ready to be where I need to be for when the dam breaks, or for when the opportunity comes, or what tools or whatever? They let you know all the way right now. So, as crazy as it is, and again, I'm one of the people that I was raised in a household where my mother always taught me about positive mental attitude. No matter how gloomy it is, no matter how many lemons you got or whatever, what's the positive side of it? What can we do with it? How are we going to work this? And so that's where this is disruption, man. You heard Winston Churchill, I think, was the one that said, never let a good crisis go to waste. Yeah, so everybody can go. I could be, like these boys with the stock market. They say, "Oh, it's terrible. Don't buy this. Don't buy that. Or sell. Get rid of this because it's gonna crash." Meanwhile, they got their boys in there just waiting for it to hit a certain price, and they buying like crazy. They buying like mad. They're telling you sell, doom and gloom, and whatever. They did that with Bitcoin. They drove that price down there and turned around and hit it. And people that are doing their homework and got their own constitution, got their own foundational roots and things they base decisions on, they're like, no, we see you coming. Come on in. We sitting there waiting on you. And that's exactly what's going on right now. People are seeing opportunities in the market, and they're getting prepared for them. So one of the things that's happening is if you are a savvy investor, I'm talking about banks, private equity, different types of entities where CDFIs, all different, and they're saying, we see that the market is going to become segmented. When I talk about the market, I'm talking about the universe. Here's one thing right now. Did anybody notice, if you didn't know the word or the phrase rare earth minerals, did you notice that was in the news these past few weeks?
Yes.
It started with Ukraine and the deal. And Russia came up and said, "Oh, if that's what you want, come on over here. We can make a deal." See, this is different in a businessman's approach. Trump's whole thing is he knows how to figure it out if it's a business deal. It's the politics of what's going on behind the scene, and Zelensky coming over here and already had made a deal on the rare earth minerals, and already had met with the Democrats, and had been out there campaigning for the Democrats and all that. and he led the Trump crew on, like, no, I'm interested, I'm coming over, I'm going to sign the deal. And to find out you never had any intention, it was false trade. So when you break your like you break your word, or you break your trust, it's a new game, a new day, a new game. So now, all of a sudden, here, I'll wrap this up. But
he's ready to come to the table now. He's ready to come to the table now.
Yeah, we come to the table, but at the same time, National Black Chamber of Commerce and this little black business in the diaspora, we're already over here talking to some African countries or some other places in the world. They got more rare minerals than Ukraine. And got full control of them and ready to stay. So you see, here's what I guess where this story really goes is to, what do you have to barter with, to negotiate with? What you got? You got anything? Bring it. Well, black folks, if we just nothing more than the boycott crew, meaning that whoever go line up for that, because a lot of them aren't necessarily business owners. Business owners are trying to go boycott. They're trying to say,
listen, we're gonna shut this down. I've been doing this all day, okay? Because it's difficulty, but right now, what Chuck is saying, we are saying the National Chamber of Commerce, our future is very bright. We just have to step up and go get what is ours. And we have friends around the world in the right place at the right place. All right, Chuck?
amen.
On that note, thank you, Mr. Chuck Paul. Thank you for Dr. Wright. This time stay with us. Thank you for Elder Lyles. Scott Owens, thank you for all you've been doing today. And my name is Ira Brooks. This is Lunch with the Chamber of Commerce for March the 8th, 2025. Please be safe, and I can check it out and say positive, and life will be good. Love you, and life will be good. Have a great weekend.